All right, let's go over the cardiovascular system. So this includes blood vessels. This includes the pump or myocardium. This includes the blood or the volume that's circulated throughout the body. You need a heart, blood, vessel, and blood. Pump. Container or a conduit with which the fluid flows through the cardiovascular system. If we remember that the heart is a system of high pressure and low pressure. We have on the right side a lower pressure system which has the right atrium which then dumps his blood into the right ventricle. And on the left side of the heart is more of a heavier pressure system or a higher pressure system where we have the left atrium dumping blood into the left ventricle. Right ventricle, right atria, left atria, left ventricle. And what divides it, these chambers here in between is called the septum. And what usually happens in between these things here, we have valves that close after blood is then ejected from the atria into the ventricle. It's closed and it's held closed by means of cords and muscles that keep that valve from opening up. Now, low pressure, high pressure, blood then is ejected and then gets oxygenated as it comes out of the pulmonary system and on into the lungs. And then blood returns back into the system via that pulmonary vein. So pulmonary artery, and then your pulmonary vein. And finally, blood then is ejected out through the left side of this heart, and it goes out to the rest of the body through the aortic valve. And down the aorta. Again, let's just remember that there's a heart, the myocardium itself, broken up into 4 different chambers. On the right side, it's a lower pressure system. It feeds basically the left side. On the left side, we have a higher pressure system. Usually it's higher pressure so that it can push the blood as it's ejected out through the left side of the left ventricle and out to the rest of the body, out through the aorta. And we have 4 chambers, the right atrial, right ventricle. It's divided in half with the septum, or the septal wall. We have the left atria and the left ventricle. In between these chambers, we have 4 valves. The first valve would be the tricuspid valve, pulmonary valve. We have the mitral valve, bicuspid, and then the aortic valve. Okay. So roughly, we carry about 6 liters of blood in an average adult human. 60 to 80% of that is mostly liquid or water inside the blood. And we know that we can have formed elements such as red blood cells, other things like proteins that are in there, such as white blood cells and platelets and such. But most of that fluid is just plasma. The container, we know, are blood vessels. There are the 3 different types of blood vessels on the aorta, and as it branches down and continues out, these arteries have a thicker lining and a thicker muscular lining that allows them to dilate and constrict when we need to. It then meets at the arterioles and then forms across another blood vessel called a capillary. Blood then is taken back in on the lower pressure side as it returns through the venules and back up through the veins. And blood is returned back to the heart via the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava.